What's up, people? So this is off of the Boxing Voice. They actually have in their program right now concerning Gervonta Day, saying that he's ducking Gary Russell Jr., he's ducking Devin Haney, he's ducking Lomachenko. Fight fans are some crazy people, man. Based off of what Gervonta Davis is saying. Now, first of all, Gervonta Davis has Leo Santa Cruz in front of him. Lomachenko, he has Teofimo Lopez in front of him. Um, and well, Devin Haney ain't got no opponent, but it looks like he's going to have Yorkis Gamboa. If things pan out for him, Ryan Garcia's got Luke Campbell in front of him. And they asked Gervonta Davis a question, concerning people wanting to face him. Okay. Devin Haney was talking about facing him and that he was a duck. And, Gervonta just trash talked him back by saying, okay, he a baby. You know what I'm saying? He a clout baby. He just trying to get clout. When they asked him about Lomachenko, I wanted to face Lomachenko. He said, well, Lomachenko, you know, he not a draw like Ryan and those guys will be. Now, these all guys are called out Gervonta Davis. You understand what I'm saying? Then they asked him about, I believe it was Gary Russell Jr. And he was saying, well, he's too small. Let me say this. And they're saying that means Gervonta Davis is ducking. And he said, who the two guys he would like to face? He would like to face uh, Teofimo Lopez, who he's facing, and then he would like to face Ryan Garcia. And he said Ryan Garcia, he still needs a little bit more work. Let me just say this. Because a lot of people are saying, oh, that's a duck. And then they were talking about Canelo and the Yildirim situation, and people want to defend that. It's not the same. Okay? It's just not the same, people. It's not the same. Gervonta Davis has not been facing strong competition like Canelo has. All right? Gervonta Davis is not pound for pound number one in the world. Canelo is. All right? We're not giving Gervonta Davis a pass, and we're not saying, oh, look at it, he's ducking. He has an opponent. You can't duck people when you have an opponent in front of you. And providing, first of all, Gervonta Davis gets past his opponent, and providing Lomachenko gets past Teofimo Lopez, okay, let's say those guys, first of all, get past their opponents. We should learn this by now. We saw Anthony Joshua getting licked up by his opponent. I was just looking at the zone. And, the interview with some other sports writers, and they were talking about this. You know, everybody was talking about Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua lost. He lost to Andy Ruiz. Everybody was still talking about that fight. And then what? Wilder loses to Tyson Fury. Okay. We just recently saw Dillian White, who was calling out everybody. He just lost to Povetkin. What am I saying? I am saying this. I'm saying this. You can't count your chickens when you got a man in front of you, somebody. You cannot take your opponent in front of you for granted. Okay? You cannot underestimate your opponent. So Tank, his immediate issue right now is with Leo Santa Cruz. His focus should be on Leo Santa Cruz. And Lomachenko, his opponent that he should be focused on is Teofimo Lopez. All this other talk about ducking who and ducking who makes no damn sense to me. Secondly, from what I gather, Tank's going to stay at 130. He said that in the interview even. He's going to stay at 130, so he's going to be fighting at 130. He's not going to go up to 140, 135 until Devin Haney leaves that equation and moves up. So I do not think that Tank is going to be facing Devin Haney anytime soon. Devin Haney is going to, when Devin Haney outgrows the division, goes up to 140, you might see Tank come up to 135. Will he face Devin Haney in his lifetime? Absolutely. I think he will. But I don't think he's going to face him. Just what it is. Now, the point is, anyway, Tank didn't say he will never face these guys or anything like that. He's just saying that right now, if he had to go after a fight, he's going after a big fight. A big money fight, a big fight. He wants the big fights, okay? You want fights that pay you some money. Now, with respect to Lomachenko's the one that says he wants to face Tank, not the other way around, okay? That doesn't mean that Tank is ducking Lomachenko. Just like how it doesn't mean that Oscar De La Hoya was ducking Floyd Mayweather. It didn't make any sense to face Floyd Mayweather when Floyd Mayweather was back in the day. Oscar was making big paydays, big fights. And when he finally did face Floyd Mayweather, they made one of the biggest fights ever in the history of boxing at the time. So they fought each other at the right time. So you have to understand how boxing goes. And that was Oscar's biggest payday. My point being that a lot of you guys just don't understand boxing like that. I really truly believe it. Canelo, at this point in time, if he faces Yildirim, what kind of money is he going to make off of that fight? How is that fight going to earn him the biggest payday ever? No, it's not going to. The problem with Canelo is he doesn't really have any more opponents that could really give him big, big fights. The only one that everybody wants to see, casuals especially, is Triple G. That's his big kind of money making fight, or where he can get subscribers for DAZN or whatever. But in terms of Canelo versus any other opponent, he's going to be carrying the brunt of the burden to make the fight promoted. It's off of his name. Because them other guys, they want to face him because they want to make a name off of him. It's not the other way around. So that's what's the situation with Canelo. What Canelo's trying to do, for you guys to understand, is he's trying to get the fighters to season out themselves a bit, face each other. And by them facing out each other, somebody will arrive from the heap with a good, a good enough resume, and from that he can face that guy. So that's what Canelo wants to do, but it's not possible right at this time. Right at this time, he just needs to go through some of them young guns, beat their ass, and then after that, some of the other young guns should be facing one another. If they're not facing one another, then it's a problem. Right now, the Charlos are setting up themselves in a very good position, with Derevyanchenko facing Jamal Charlo. It definitely going to line him up if he can win against Derevyanchenko for Canelo fight. And with the younger Jamal Charlo getting more experience by facing Jason Rosario, it might just put him in a position where if he moves up to 160, he might get the Canelo fight down the road. So, I mean, the Charlos are doing something. They're actually facing somebody. Jamal Charlo would have faced Matt Korobov, and then how he performs against Derevyanchenko will tell us how he could perform against Canelo. He has to make a statement. But the point is, if he does well, then he might just get the Canelo fight. You just never know. Canelo is looking like he wanted to try and grab the 168 title to get himself in position to face, say, for example, a David Benavidez or Jamal Charlo. And I think it was Ness, one of the boxing boys, was saying that Canelo, by moving across to PBC, he would get those two fights and probably even a Chris Eubank fight. So that would line him up really nice and good, at least on Showtime. But I don't think that. I think Canelo has a contract with DAZN, so he's still going to have to go back to DAZN. But if Canelo could get that agreement where he can cross or go over and have the two worlds, that would be great. So that's where Ness was trying to justify the Yildirim fight. Me, personally, the Yildirim fight don't cut it for me. Yildirim, it just don't cut it for me. But we'll see what happens with the path with Canelo. I don't agree with Canelo facing Yildirim, but I get what Ness is saying. It makes some kind of sense. We'll see how it works out with that. But me personally, I can't defend Canelo on that, especially the status as pound for pound number one fighter. What are you doing facing a Yildirim? Like, what you really doing facing a Yildirim? I've said this over and over again. When you have a pound for pound status, you should have a certain tier of opponent that you're facing. And when you look at, this is what one of the things so much people criticize Mayweather, he did not do. Now, Tank is not on a Canelo status. He's not a pound for pound fighter to start with. People are saying, well, Tank should be looking to face. He should be looking to face Lomachenko. At this point in time, he's not facing Lomachenko because Lomachenko has an opponent. Lomachenko's opponent is Teofimo Lopez. And so it doesn't really matter what you think right now. His opponent is Leo. It don't matter what Tank say. Tank can trash talk. Tank can say anything he wants to say. At this point in time, he has to face one opponent, and that opponent is Leo Santa Cruz. That's who he's facing. That's the facts of the situation. We don't know who else he's facing, but he's facing Leo Santa Cruz. And with the Lomachenko, he's facing Teofimo Lopez, and that's the facts of the situation. So it really don't matter what they say. At this point in time, actions speak louder than words. We'll see if Tank faces Lomachenko in the future. If Lomachenko can get by Teofimo Lopez and Tank can get by Leo. If they don't get by their fighters, it doesn't really matter. So that's all I got to say for that. And fighters ducking fighters and so on. That's my take on it. I'm gonna hold fast to that. As to people saying Tank is ducking people, how can you be ducking somebody and you haven't even faced them? Like, do you understand that you're facing an opponent? He's facing an opponent in front of him. It don't really matter what people say. And the same thing with Loma. Loma did. He did not face Devin Haney. It's mandatory. Instead, he chose to face Teofimo Lopez for unification. Okay, great. So he's going to unify. You can't say he ducked Devin Haney, even though we know he didn't want to face him. Whatever. The point is, at the end of the day, you can't call him a ducker if he's facing Teofimo Lopez. So ducking is where you face somebody who is higher tier than the person you're about to face. And at present, Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney's about the same level. So it is what it is. Even though Devin Haney might have more skill, whatever, Teofimo Lopez faced the higher level competition. So what we got to say is, let's see how things pan out with Leo Santa Cruz and Tank, and also Teofimo Lopez and Tank and Loma. Then we could talk about that. Y'all need to take one fight at a time. Y'all fight fans is a trip. I'm gonna catch you guys later. I am what you need. I'm out. Peace.